ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
We would continue this session about our streams, the IO streams. Okay. Now earlier we had seen that in order to read data from file, we have got two streams. Sorry, in order to deal with the file, we have got two streams. One for reading the data, one for writing the data. For reading the data, we have file input stream. For writing the data, we have got file output stream. Now whenever you are talking about these streams, what happened? Whenever you were reading the data, you were reading the bytes of data. You were reading the data byte by byte. Okay. Now byte is nothing but you were reading 8 bits at a time. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits at a time. Okay. Now we have got another, in IO streams also you have got two categories. One is the one character, you have got two things. One is character data, the other is binary data. Okay. What happens whenever you are dealing with character data, okay, or if your IO streams belong to a character type of the to the character type of the family, it would read 1 byte at a time. Okay. Now here, when you were talking about input streams, it was sorry, this is wrong actually. When you were talking about input streams, it used to read bit by bit. Okay. Now whenever you are talking about character streams, it reads 1 byte of data at a time. Okay. So now tell me which ones are faster, the input streams or your binary streams are faster, or your character streams are faster. Binary streams read data bit by bit. Okay. Whereas when you are talking about character streams, they read data byte by byte. Okay. So which one would be faster, bit by bit or byte by byte? The answer is character streams are always faster. What happens over here is you go to your resource, you read 1 bit, you come back over here, okay, and report that bit to your application. Then again you go to the file, read another bit and come back. Whereas whenever you are making use of your character streams, you go to the file, read 8 bits at a time and then come back and report these 8 bits. So whatever you guys or whatever you would do here for 16 round ways. See, one time going, one time coming back, one time going, the other time coming back. So the amount of time which you would waste over here by using binary streams, that you can do it only in one go if you are using your character streams. Now you would tell me, okay, when we are talking about file input stream, which one is that? Is it a character stream or is it a binary stream? Now all the IO streams, okay, all the input streams and output streams, if they are ending with your stream word, okay, if my input stream is input stream, okay, file input stream, file output stream, if the name of the class is ending by input stream, then I know that this is a binary stream. Instead of that, in order to read a file, if I want to make use of my character streams, then I would go for another category of streams which are called as readers and writers. So if I want to read a file and if I want to make use of character streams, then I would go for another category called as file reader and file writer. Now by the name itself, you will come to know file reader is used in order to read the file, while file writer is used in order to write onto a file. Now what is a file reader, file writer? They are also Java classes, they are also a part of your streams, they are also a part of your Java IO, but the only difference between a file input stream and file reader is input stream reads bit by bit, whereas your file reader reads 1 byte at a time. Now where are these classes located? Your file reader and file writer. It would be again in your java.io. Just click over here, java.io. Okay, he's already clicked it. Now here, if you go down to the classes, you would see that you have file reader as well as file writer. Let's go to file reader. You're going to file permission, yeah, file reader. Now look over here, go to the constructor. See, just, okay. Now file reader, again it is same as that of your file input stream. The constructors are also the same, but here again, can you go to the read method? Now here, it is telling you it reads a single character. There, if you would have seen your file input stream, it would have told you it reads 1 bit by bit of data into your application. Now what we would do is, we have got a file called as employee-data.txt. Can you go to edit plus? Okay, now here show them the txt file which we have. Employee-data.txt. Now in this file, what do we have? We have data in it. Okay, now what is the data? This is the employee sheet of a person. 101 is nothing but the employee number. Then you have the name of the employee. Then you have the salary of the employee. And then after that you have got the designation of the employee. What is he in the firm? So right like this, we have got 4 lines of data into our sheet. In our program which we are just about to code, we are going to read this particular data and check whether the salary of that particular person is greater than 5,000 or no. Okay, if the salary is greater than 5,000, then we would write only the names and the salary into a different file. Now just listen to me once more. What are we going to do in this particular application? Here we have got one file which is nothing but employee data. It is telling you about the details of a particular employee. Okay, now here the employee number, the name, the salary and the designation of the particular employee is specified. What would our Java application do? It will read the data from the file. After reading the data, it would check whether the salary of this particular person is greater than 5,000 or it is less than 5,000. What would happen if it is greater than 5,000? Then I am going to write the name of the employee into a separate file. Okay, let's name that file as golden employees. All the people or all the employees who are getting salary greater than 5,000 will be termed as golden employees. Okay, so I am going to create another file called as golden employees and write the data or write the names of the people who are getting salary more than 5,000. So in this particular scenario, what all things we are going to cover? We would be reading from a file as well as creating a file and then writing on to a particular file. Reading from employee-data.txt, creating a file called as goldenemployee.txt and writing data into your goldenemployee.txt. Okay, so is this agenda clear as to what we are going to do? Now you will tell, we have done this before also. We have done a file copy program where we were reading from the file, copying the data, creating a file and putting it on that too. So what is the difference? Now here in this particular application, instead of using your file input stream, we are going to use another class called as file reader and file writer. So let's proceed. Okay, now you would ask me, how can we differentiate or what is a character file or what is a binary file? In which situations should we use when I am saying that input streams and readers, both of them are used in order to read data from a particular file? You would ask me, fine, we know that 2 things are available. But when should we use file input stream and when should we use file reader? See guys, whenever you are looking at a particular class and you are learning about a particular class, it becomes very important for you to understand why are you using this? What is the need for you to use this particular class? Why they have created these two classes? What is the difference between the two? What are the advantages as well as the disadvantages? Because when you are coding, you should select the best class suited for that particular application or the best class suited for that situation. Okay? So now, since we have got two streams or two classes in Java which can read data from the file, which one is more efficient in doing so? Whenever you have data which is in your text format, okay, if I've got a .txt file and I've got only data in it, okay, like this, what we have, the employee data.txt, then for that you should go for character streams, because what your file contains is only the characters, okay? So you need to read the characters quickly instead of reading bit by bit. But in case if you have got images, your music file, or even in case of the Excel sheets. Now Excel sheets are also in binary format. Though they contain data, or though they only contain the character data, but when you want to read an Excel sheet, it would be there in the binary format, okay? Even your PDFs, all those things are nothing but present in your binary format. If you want to read those, you cannot use file reader, you cannot use your character streams at all, because there you have got to use bit by bit. Those are binary files, and binary files should only be read by your input streams. Whereas if you've got character data, okay, if you've got a file with .txt extension or with .properties extension or with .dat, that is data extension, only in case of those files you can make use of file reader, because it would be a very quick thing to read, okay. So now let's go back and create a file reader, okay. So now tell me one thing. This employee data.txt file already exists, correct? Okay. So do we have to create a file object? Yes, we have to create a file object. But do we have to call the method create new file in it? No. Why? Because this particular file is already existing. So before creating the file reader, we are going to create a file object, okay? So we will say file f equal to new file. Which file are we talking about? Employee data.txt. So that should be the name which should be given in the form of strings. Okay, so file f equal to new file, and in the constructor specify the name of the file which you are talking about. So here it would be, no, now D should be in lowercase. Okay, so employee data.txt. That is the name of the file. After creating the file object, what do we need to do? We need to read the data from this file. Okay, so I am going to say file reader fr equal to new file reader. Okay, now which file do we, see the same procedure, only instead of using my file input stream, I am going to use a file reader. Okay, now here file reader fr equal to new file reader. Which file do I want to read? I want to read this particular f file. So while creating the file reader object, I should specify in the constructor, boss, this is the file which I would like to read. Now to the input stream, you have already specified the resource. What you need to do now? You need to start reading it, okay? So just say fr.read. Okay, now read is again going to give you an integer. Same thing, only your file, the same program, only your file input stream has been replaced by file reader. Okay. Now the only important thing over here is the time consumed in order to read your character file with the help of file reader is far less than the time consumed to read your text file using your file input stream. So here again I'm going to take it in the form of integer, int I equal to fr dot read, and then in the while loop I'm going to check whether I reached my end of the file or no. How would we specify that? With the help of -1. Okay, yeah. So now right now let's just make a file copy program with file reader also. What I told you that we are going to check whether this person has got salary greater than 5,000 or not. We will do it when we are doing buffered reader and buffered writer. Right now just print it as system.out.println only. Okay. So while I is not equal to -1, I'm just going to replicate it. Okay, or I'm just going to print it onto the system. System.out, whatever I'm reading from the file, it's going to get printed onto the console. The thing which I told you, golden customer.txt, we'll do it in the next program. Okay, now make I, yeah. Save it. Just save it and run this application. E drive, in that we have got Java file test 5, file test 5, file, 5.java, and just run this application. Oh, it's giving you errors because we did not import our the Java package. It will give you error one more time because we did not, we added throws expression, okay. We did not only add the package. So import java.io.star. Okay, run this application. Java file test 5. File test 5. Like this. We did not read it again. So it does not change. I equal fr dot read. We just went into infinite while loop. So CLS, just do CLS and run it so that the screen is clear. Okay. So the same thing is over here. Now it's just the same thing. All you need to do is, when you have your file copy program ready with you, replace your file input stream by file reader, file output stream by file writer. So now as an assignment, what you need to do is, you have a file copy program, okay? I have just shown you what does your file reader do. You write a program, what does your file writer do as a file copy program, and show it to me, okay? We will move on again, and now we are going to explore two more classes called as buffered file input stream, or buffered reader and buffered writer. Just go to buffered reader and buffered writer. And buffered, see here you have got two things: buffered input stream, buffered output stream. buffered reader and buffered writer. Again, depending upon the type of the file, you are supposed to use, if it's a binary file, make use of streams. If it is a character file, make use of reader or writer. Now we have got a character file which is called as employee data.txt. So we'll make use of buffered reader and buffered writer. Now what do you mean by buffer? What is a buffer? Can anybody tell me what is a buffer? Buffer is nothing but, it is a space where you can store data. Okay? Now you have two things. You have got your Java program and you have got your file resource. Now there is risk involved over here. See, there are two problems when you try to directly access your resource with the help of your Java program. Okay? What is the risk? Just carefully listen to this particular thing. I have my Java program running where? In my JRE. Okay? I have got my file. Where is my file? It is in my computer system. Now, even though if I am reading or I am making use of my reader, or if I am making use of my character streams, even then, if I have to go and read character by character, what would happen? From my Java application, I would go to the resource, read one character, come back. Again go there, read one character and come back. The time which is called as the network loss. Now that file could be anywhere. It could be located in Australia also. It might not be on the same system. The amount, see, it does not mean if I am talking about Australia, you manually have to go to Australia or your application manually has got to reach Australia flying by 5 hours and go and get one character over there. It is again, it is going to go with the help of network only. But the amount of time which it would take in order to go and take one character and come back, to go and take one character and come back is going to be huge. Okay? So, you would want that there should be a buffer which should be there. You should go to your resource, take one character, put it into the buffer. Go take one character, put it into the buffer. Go take one character and put it into the buffer. When the buffer is full, at that particular time, you should take that buffer and report and give it to your application saying that, see boss, the buffer is full and now you have all the data which was there in the resource in this particular buffer. So if you want to read data, read it from the buffer. Okay? The second usage of this is, whenever you don't have any buffer, what are you doing? Your Java application, you are directly exposing it to your file resources, which is not correct. Okay, because if anybody is deleting the file resource or if something is happening with the file resource manually, then your Java application would get corrupted or there would be just some bug, and if it is a major application, then your application would stop working. So in this case, or there is a risk involved over here, whenever you have your Java application fully exposed or directly talking to any resource which is onto your system or out of your JRE. Now in this particular case, you should say, my application would not talk to resources directly. There would be a buffer which would be there in between. My application would talk to buffer. It is the responsibility of the buffer who is going to go take the data from the resources and put it into the buffer. So whenever you are reading data, make sure you always do that with the help of your buffered input stream or buffered output stream or buffered reader and buffered writer. Okay? First advantage is it is saving your time. Second advantage is your application is not getting directly exposed to your resources. So now let's see how do we create buffered reader and how do we read data by using your buffered reader. Let's open a new Java file. Okay, now just first import your java.io.star. java.io.star. So we are importing the package first, and now here, first of all, basic steps. You want to read from the file. So reading from the file would not change at all. You will have to create a file object. Now I am reading from a file. I want my buffered reader to do it. Just see how do I create my buffered reader. Now create a file. File f equal to new file. Okay, and read your employee data.txt. Employee data.txt. That's good. Okay. After this, now we want to read the data. In order to read the data, I'm going to make use of my file input stream or my file reader. So I'm going to create a file reader object over here. File reader. See, ultimately who's going to do the reading? File reader is only going to do the reading. But after reading the data, the file reader is going to put it into my buffered reader. Now, file reader is created using my file object. Now I have to create buffered file reader. Okay, so create buffered file reader, or it's buffered reader only. Just check in the API. It's buffered reader only. BR equal to new BR. Now, whenever, see, it's very interesting thing over here. Whenever you are creating your buffered reader, you are creating only one buffer. But who's going to put the data in the buffer? This file reader. Okay? So whenever you are creating your buffered reader, you are supposed to tell your buffered reader, see boss, this file reader is going to go read the data and put it inside your buffer. Okay? So I am going to give here FR. So actually, who is reading the file? Buffered reader is reading the file or file reader is reading the file? The file reader is reading the file. And putting the data where? To the application? No. He's putting it into the buffered reader. Now my application would read data from where? From the buffer or from the file reader? It's going to read it from the buffer itself. Okay? So now, as an application, I am going to take data from my buffer and not from my file reader. Okay? Come down. And write over here, br dot read line. Now, instead of reading character by character, since all the data is present in the buffer, I am going to directly read the line instead of reading one character, then other character, then third character. br.read line. This particular method is going to give you a string object. Okay? So just say string s equal to br.read line. S should be capital. Okay? String s equal to br.read line. Now till what time do I need to read? Till the time I don't reach the end of the file. Now since I am not using character data, since I am not using any binary data, how would my end of the file would be notified? I am going to just check whether my string is null or it is not equal to null. If it is null, it means I have reached end of the file. If it is not null, it means there is still some data present over there. So I am going to say while s is not equal to null, okay, just say system.out.println, print your s and then read the line again. I'm just telling you how does your buffered reader does the work. Okay, and just say s. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's better. And now just compile this application and run it. Huh? Again read it once more, yeah, s equal to br.line, otherwise it would go into infinite loop again. br.readline. So now let's compile this application and name it as file test 6. So let him compile javac file test 6.java and run the application. Okay, so we just do it as 6. Good. Same thing, but now in a different flavor. Okay, now go back. The criteria was reading the data from the file, then filtering people who have got greater than 5,000. Now since we have the entire line in our S, we need to filter out the amount. Okay, we need to check whether the amount is greater than 5,000 or less than 5,000. We have got this entire string with us. How should we filter out the amount? What should we use over here? You should go back to your string class and see what should we use over here. Correct. If you would have observed in your employee data.txt, your txt file is nothing but it is very similar to your CSV file. Your CSV file is what? Comma separated value. Okay. So with the help of your delimiter comma, I'm going to read this entire string and split this string using this particular delimiter. Okay. Now just do it. Split the string. Take it in the string array. String. Just type string, array sign, it's S1 equal to S dot split. I'm going to split the line based on the delimiter comma. So give the delimiter over here in the string format, double colon, and give comma over here. Yes. Now based on this function, the array would have how many elements? 4 elements. The first element would be the employee number. Second element would be the name. The third element would be what? The salary. Fourth element would be your designation. Okay. What am I interested in? I am interested in the third element, which is nothing but the salary. So I am going to check over here if, just put a if statement, if S1 of 2, if S1 of 2, that is nothing but the salary, is greater than 5,000. Okay. Then what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to write it into another file called as goldenemployees.txt, the name as well as the salary. Okay. So now over here, in order to write, what do I need? I need to have buffered writer. Did we create a buffered writer as yet? No. So let's go and create one buffered writer over here after the reader. Create a buffered writer. Now again, buffered writer would be using your file writer, which would be using your file. Okay. So first of all, what we need to do is, okay, just say new buffered writer. Buffered writer. Okay. But just keep it as it is. Put a semicolon over here. Okay. Right. Start from here. Start from here. Just put enter before line number 9 here. Create a file called as goldenemployee.txt. How do we create a file? We create a new file object, and since this file is not there into the system, we would have to invoke the method create new file so that the file physically exists. goldenemployee.txt. Okay? Yeah. Now just say f dot create new file. F dot create new file. Sorry, F1. Yeah. That would be proper. F1 dot create new file. Now the file is physically present onto the system. Create new file. On line number 10, you have to say create new file. New file. Now for this file, you need an output stream. So you can say file writer, or you can create it over here only. New file writer. New file writer. And now in order to create a file writer, you need to give F1 over here. So I have created a file writer for file as F1. What is F1? goldenemployee.txt. Okay, so what am I going to do is, I am going to read the data, filter the data, and write this data into my goldenemployee.txt. Come down. Okay, now here you are supposed to say bw.write okay, yeah, in string format, give the name of the person. That is nothing but your S1. Okay, so just give S1. No. Give directly S1. It is a string only, no? Yeah, just remove the colon. Yeah, S1 plus concatenate it with a comma. Yeah, give a comma over here, not a null string. Okay, anything would do. Plus S of 2. So only the name as well as the salary is over there in the new file. The name of the new file is goldenemployee.txt. That's it. Okay, put this thing. Yeah. Go to your buffered writer. Let me show them how all the methods which are there in your buffered writer. Buffered writer. We have seen buffered reader. Go to the methods. Okay, so you have got write. You can write your entire string also. Okay, now here you have a new line. If you want that the name of the person should come one after the other as you had put in your employee data.txt, then go back. Just go back. You've got to write over here bw dot new line. Okay, that's it. Now run this application. Okay. Now we would go to edit plus. What did we do was, we were directly comparing the string with a number. So instead of that, we are going to parse it using integer.parseInt. You give your supplier a string over here, it will get converted into integer. Now this integer, I am going to compare it with my 5000. Now just compile it and run the application. Okay. So what did we do? We read from the file line by line using this particular line. Okay, we read this particular file line by line. Using this entire line, we split the line based on the delimiter. Then after splitting it, we collected those strings into an array. Then we compared whether the salary is greater than 5000. If it is, then using our buffered writer, we are writing it into our goldenemployee.txt. Let's go and check whether there is a file called goldenemployee.txt or not. And if there is, then did we write correct data into it or not? Go to there. Do you have goldenemployee.txt? Come down. Goldenemployee.txt. Now here, open it. We don't have anything because again we forgot to flush our writers and readers. Okay, so go back, come down. After your while loop, after everything, after your while loop, say bw.flush because you are always supposed to flush your writers and close your readers and writers both. BR dot close, BW dot close. Make sure that you are closing it after your while loop. Okay? BW dot close, BR dot close. Okay. Now compile it again. Let's go back to our disk. Now just close this. Go back to your other files. Now open it. Now it has become as 1 KB. See, Ram, Sita and Radha. These were the people who were getting above 5,000. Okay? So make sure that whenever you are using any kind of writer or any kind of output stream, until and unless you don't flush your streams or you don't flush your writers, the data would not get stored into your file. So make it as a compulsion that whenever you are writing, flush it and then close it. Please don't close it and then flush it. And you have to follow the proper sequence. You are pushing the data and telling it, you please go and sit on the resource. After you have pushed the data, you are closing your streams. Okay? So today what we have done is, we saw there are two types of streams, character streams and binary streams, how to use them and when to use them. Again, we saw something called as buffered reader, buffered writer, buffered input stream and buffered output stream. Why are we supposed to use them and how efficient they are. Now this is where our IO is going to end. In the next session, we would start with threading. Okay, that will be all.